Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CryptoTraders Room, the last frontier in keeping it real with honesty and integrity. Hope everyone's doing well. And crazy time in this market. 300 billion market cap. And if you're a new time viewer, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. And don't forget to click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification. And stay connected with us on Steemit, Twitter, as well as Facebook. But yeah, happy Monday. Davey Reed, you are the first. Ramon, actually, I'm sorry. Welcome, buddy. It's great to see some new names on this live stream. But yeah, it's Monday. Haven't done a live stream in a week, and I do apologize. The Thanksgiving holiday had me traveling, so that's why I really couldn't do a live stream. But hope you guys are, taking some profits and, or at least, holding those top cryptocurrencies that have definitely exceeded, everybody's expectation. They've definitely exceeded my expectation in the way the market has moved recently. We really haven't had a sell-off. So let's just take a look at the overall market cap, and then we'll take a look at a couple of the different cryptocurrencies. But yeah, we got top 15 in the market cap, over $1 billion in market cap. Omisa Go's almost there. Zcash is almost there. Stellar's almost there. So, I mean, there's a couple other ones that are close to hitting that $1 billion market cap. But, if this market continues with the way it's moving, we could see the top 20 hitting $1 billion in market cap and really sending this thing over that. I think it was $310 million or $1 billion in market cap that we saw. So it's pretty crazy. It is crazy, the type of move that we're seeing. But, in my opinion, it's too fast, it's too quick, and it's a little scary. It is a little scary of what could possibly happen. Things just can't go up and up and up and keep going up every single day, define every logic. At some point, they do come crashing, and it's either going to be a very major correction or it's going to be a minor correction. With the way this market is moving, I would say that we are going to have a major correction that's going to happen before the end of this year. Now, $10,000 is definitely still in sight for BTC. We're not that far away, considering if she hit 9,750, I think was the all-time high. $250 away from hitting 10,000. That's definitely reachable, but almost a month left until the year ends. A little over a month left. A correction is due, and it's just going to happen at the wrong time, in my opinion, unfortunately. Davey, you're absolutely right. This is nuts. Let's see what else you're saying. To think you got in a month ago. Let's see. To think, I'm sorry, I'm out of it today. To think that you just got in a month ago or so from following me, dude, that's awesome. I'm glad you did, and I'm hoping you're making profits and locking in those profits, because who knows what's going to happen. Godfried, welcome. I finally pronounced it correctly. Ramon, yes. I butcher some names, and I do apologize. It happens from time to time. I'm not the greatest at pronouncing names. C20, yes, Ramon. I like C20, and I'm hoping you are invested in C20. But it's a great index fund, and I think Daniel and the whole team are going to do something great. And I had a chance to hang out with Daniel in New York City, and he's an awesome guy, down to earth, and it just solidified my. My reasoning for really falling in love with C20 and the whole team and what they're doing. So definitely a great project. Definitely a great project that they're working on. Andreas, welcome, buddy. Welcome. Took some profits from F. Yeah, we're going to take a look at F, because F, really surprised me. And I thought a lot of the scammy ICOs, dodgy ICOs would be dumping their F, or tons of the F that got stolen. They would be looking to dump it. But it's holding up pretty well. It really is. So let's go ahead and take a look at BTC first, of course, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at F. LTC has also been really stellar. But like I said, the downturn is going to happen. We are going to have a major correction. It's not going to be a minor correction, in my opinion, and I could be completely wrong. But with the way this market is moving, it's definitely going to be a major correction. And we got to remember, whales control this market. Exchanges control this market. So if these exchanges want to dump, the BTC that they have to cause it to crash so that they could buy in cheaper, they will do it. It's just a matter of time. And it's going to be at the wrong time. when we think that everything's all gravy and everything's good, that they just completely dump it, and then panic selling ensues. That domino effect, panic selling. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But BTC currently 96.61 on Bitstamp. I don't know why I'm looking at Bitstamp. Let me get out of Bitstamp. Maybe we'll take a look at Bitfinex. Nothing wrong with Bitstamp, by the way. Nothing wrong with Bitstamp at all. But I did have stuff plotted out previously on Bitfinex. So really, I mean, if BTC was to correct and we were to have that major crazy correction, and it's going to happen, it's just a matter of time. Time will tell. OMG is doing good, yes. And we can take a look at OMG as long as time permits. I can't be on this live stream forever today, but as long as time permits, we can definitely take a look at OMG. I mean, every cryptocurrency is doing well, especially if you're holding the top 20, they're all doing well. And there's a couple other ones that are doing very well as well too. But you just got to lock in those profits and be happy with it. Not sell everything, but start selling increments. Whether it be 0.25% of what you have or 1/10 of what you have, and be happy with those profits. But if we were to have a correction on BTC, the correction that I personally see it coming down to, and I could be completely wrong. Let me go ahead and change these color coordination. Is going to be in the range of 79.50 to 75. Let's just say 76. So anywhere from 8,000 to 7,600. That's really the area that I would see this thing correcting to, and hopefully consolidating. This thing has been on a tear. It has been on a tear, and a while back when this thing was really dipping from almost $8,000 level, I predicted that on our Slack chat that I can see this thing coming down to 5,000, and it came down about 54. Depending on what exchange you're looking at, it came down to 54 on Bitfinex. So I was basically $400 away. I didn't get in. I wish I had capital to actually take advantage of this. But even if I did have capital, I would have probably been waiting for that 5,000. I wouldn't have been getting in at 5,400. Considering it was a nice massive drop from 8,000, almost a $3,000 correction. So if we do have a correction from this level here, really that correction could come down to right around 7,500, 7,600. As long as panic selling doesn't ensue. If panic selling ensues, then that's going to be a whole different ballpark then. And Wells will play this game. They will play this game. And exchanges will also play this game too, so to get you to panic sell. FUD could definitely be spread, even though there's a lot of good news happening on BTC right now. But as time goes on, there's more FUD that's being put out, more negative articles. People are going to start panicking. And all the Wells need to do is just start selling a little bit to get the price to start dropping and put out that bad news. And then everybody else starts following their lead and starts dumping. But 7,600 should hold. Now, if that doesn't hold, there are other key areas of support. But and honestly, I don't see this thing dropping below 7,000. 7,000 should definitely hold. That's a drop of $2,600 from here. And the other day, I was doing a little bit of math to see exactly what these retracements have been like. And when we have a major retracement, not just a little correction where there's profit taken, which is normal, that's going to happen. If we look at this little dip here from, let's just say 8,000, down to, almost 76, 75, those are little minor corrections. Those aren't major corrections at all. But the major corrections that we have seen in the past, like this one here, it's been a correction of anywhere from 2,000 to about $3,200. So if we go on the high end and say, there could possibly be a correction of, 2,600 or even 3,000, that would bring us right down to 66, somewhere in that range, 6,600. If that is going to be the major correction that we're going to have. But, I can see a correction of $2,000, a correction of 1,000, which is my honest opinion. I mean, we've seen it. It's nothing crazy. It's a drop in a bucket to have $1,000 correction. But yeah, easily $2,000 correction, it could do it. Before possibly gearing up for another huge run closer to the end of the year. And that's as long as, Wells aren't manipulating this market and exchanges are not manipulating this market. But yeah, BTC has been on a tear, and if anybody's holding, you're definitely being rewarded. But, there comes a time where you're either going to, just kind of forget about the BTC you have and just not even look at it, or start to take profits, and as it dips, add more to that position. But yeah, anybody that bought and it's just kind of, out of sight, out of mind, and didn't panic and sell when we were dropping from 8,000 down to 5,000, this is a huge reward for them. But this is unheard of. These type of moves that we're seeing is completely unheard of. I mean, we're going from, 5,400 on November 12th to today being the 26th. So within 2 weeks, it's up $4,200. I mean, that's just an insane amount of return. In 2 weeks, you buy one at 5,400, you're making $4,200, a little over $4,200, in 2 weeks. The average person, working a 9-to-5 job is not making those type of returns. But it's hard to gauge that, it's hard to spend $5,000 or $5,400 on one BTC when it's tanking and trying to catch the bottom. A lot of people really, you can't catch the bottom. It's hard. Maybe 1% of the people can catch the bottom. But let me see what you guys are saying, try to answer some questions, and then, we'll take a look at ETH, because ETH has definitely had a nice run. And I still do have my position in ETH. I haven't gotten rid of it yet. Lots of crap around ETH, but you still believe in it. We'll buy some more for the long term when we have another correction, and that correction will happen. Just have USD, have capital waiting on the sideline. That's really all that I could recommend. All right, so ETH got up to, I don't think she broke 500. So 492.99, so let's just say 493, and that was on GDAX. On Bitfinex, let's see what she got up to. But I don't think anywhere it broke above $500. So 491.89. So 493 was basically the high that it had set on GDAX. So let's take a look at GDAX real quick. And a 30-minute chart's not going to do us any justice at all. It's really not too much of a retracement. And these are lines that I had plotted out a while ago, where she broke out above, key levels of resistance. And, I've always talked about, when she has a breakout, you want to make sure that it's a confirmed breakout. So a while back, I mean, it was heavily suppressed from November 19th to about the 22nd. And she had that confirmed breakout above that $371. Now, even if we go back a little further and take a look at the break above $120, because that $320 was a crucial level in the past. Let's see, 320 would put us right about here. So let me go ahead and plot out 320. So that was about the 320 line right there. And nice confirmed breakout. Attempted to break down below it. She held that 320 right over here. Let me go ahead and put a circle. Not sure if you guys can see this a little clearer than I can. That 320 held. And that 320 has been a key psychological level in the past, that she had to break it and she had to maintain it, not just break it and break back down below it, but she held it. She did not break below that 320. And as long as she doesn't break below that 320, and as long as you know what that key psychological level is from the past, oops, let me get rid of that. And I've always talked about, look at the overall chart too, before you can kind of determine what that psychological level is. You want to have a broader vision, a broader idea of the whole chart. So that 320 held, and it held very nicely, because really after that, there was no breakdown of 320 at all. And then, of course, there were other areas of resistance. If we take a look at the overall chart, that she had to break out above. So let's go ahead and take a look at maybe the 12-hour chart. No, that's not going to do me justice either. So there was that 320 there. Next level would have been, well, the key level for it to really maintain 350. Because 350 really we hadn't seen 350 in a very long time. And that was as of the correction that was happening on September 3rd. So that's a very good extended period of time that, she had a hard time breaking out above 350. 350 she got to right here, couldn't do it, broke back down to 285, 84. My entry was somewhere around here, 286, 83, which I still have. But that 250 was a crucial level. And as we can see, she broke through it very nicely on a one-day candlestick. Didn't close close to its high, but she still closed above that 350. And the closing price above the 350 also would indicate that, you know what, this is going to have a somewhat a bullish movement. Now, whether it could be long-term or short-term, you know, it's really up to the market to decide, buyers and sellers. But once that 350 really broke, it held at 350. And that's how you know that it is a key level and that, you know, it's, I shouldn't say short term, because right now it has been kind of somewhat long term bullish. But as long as she breaks out above a key level of resistance and holds it on a correction, on a profit taking correction, which is completely healthy, and that's exactly what she did here. She held it twice. She held it here, broke to 349, but that's not that big of a deal. And then she held it here where she came down to 350.50. And as long as she's holding key areas of resistance, prior resistance becomes current support. And she's shown us that previous times. You know, the 320, she broke out through it, held it as a support, broke out above the 350, held it as a support again. And then from there on, it was just nothing but uphill. You know, with BTC going up, the overall market going up, mass adoption happening. Currently, there's just nothing that's really stopping these cryptocurrencies, especially the top 10, the top 15, from really making a crazy move in the next couple days. So let's see, the other area of support that or resistance that I had plotted out was the 397, $400 just about. Broke out above 400 here, but had a hard time really giving a confirmed breakout until a couple hours later. These are 1 hour candlesticks that we're looking at. So once you broke out above 401, I mean, that's a huge, huge level there for it to have that type of break, considering we hadn't seen a break above 400 in a very long time. 420 was the high that she set, completely broke down to, what, $130 when we had that big sell-off. But yeah, she had a hard time really breaking out above it, but she maintained it. So as long as she maintains it, it's somewhat short-term bullish at the current moment. And then with this candlestick here, had a nice break above that 400, 416, getting close to that all-time high, and then broke the all-time high. But, you know, once they do break the all-time high, you got to expect some sort of a correction to happen. And that's exactly what happened. So 428.60 hit and then kind of broke down to 401. So you got to expect this type of correction. Now, the biggest thing about F is, you know, that 400 is still a somewhat psychological level that she had to break out above it and maintain it, considering we hadn't seen anything above 400 in a very extended period of time. So if you're thinking about getting in this and you see it breaking above 400, and, you know, instead of FOMO chasing this thing, wait for a correction, because a correction did happen. Now, it wasn't a big correction from 428 to 401. I'm sorry, was it 401? Yes, 401 exactly. It's not that big of a correction, but she held it. And as long as she holds that level, then you know what? This is a time for me to get in, because she is holding this key level of resistance, or of support really, which was a prior resistance. And then from there, hit 488. And then from there, it's been solid. It has really been solid. So really going forward, you know, there is a key level that she has to hold. Now, whether she's going to hold this level, who knows? Like I said, it all depends on, you know, are people going to take profits that got in, you know, in the $200, $300 range, or have they already taken those profits? So 450 has to hold. If 450 can't hold, then, you know, we got to expect it to kind of retest the other areas of support, which would be the 420. And then if that doesn't hold, 400 has to hold. And if 400 can't hold, then, you know, we're going to have a short-term dip. So if we do have a nice correction here, it could correct to that 200-day moving average based on the 1 hour candlestick price action movement, and that would put it right at 410. But I would look for a hold on this. For this to be really bullish, I would look for this to hold the 450. And if it doesn't hold the 450, then 400 has to hold in order for this to have a somewhat a sustained move to the upside, you know, going forward. But if it can't hold and she keeps breaking the 450, breaks the 400, I'm sorry, not 400, breaks the 450 and then breaks the 420, then, you know, 400 is definitely in sight, but that 400 is probably the major level that traders are going to be looking at to see if it holds. And if it can't, then yeah, we're going to expect maybe 350 possibly. Tracy, good morning. Suzanne, good morning. You just made it. That's awesome. Ivan, SE. I see. Yeah, I had a very good Thanksgiving. It was kind of busy, a lot of traveling, so that wasn't the fun part. But it was great to spend time with the family. Overdue USD FUSD profit, man. It's just these are the levels, the type of move that I've been waiting for F to do for a very extended period of time, and that's why on the last live stream I said, I'm kind of losing hope on this because there's no reason that F should be suppressed like the way it has been suppressed for a very extended period of time. And if we really look at the one-day chart on this, I mean, it had a hard time breaking out above 400 when, everything else was really breaking out, making new highs left and right, except for F. And that was because of just ICOs were just dumping their Ethereum that they were getting, or the F that they were getting. But yeah, this is a clear confirmation of a nice break. And hopefully, 500 is in sight. And hopefully that will be, the support line. And hopefully we won't see a dip below $500. I mean, it's going to happen. It will happen. But in order for this to really take off and really, possibly get to 750, maybe 1,000, after the New Year's, 500 has to hold, and I wouldn't mind 500 holding and just consolidating and just moving sideways, and not breaking down from those key levels. Operation Dragon Slayer. I've never heard of it. If you want to kind of fill me in on it, that'd be great. Never heard of Operation Dragon Slayer. if that's even a real thing. All right, who asked me to take a look at? Let's take a look at LTC, and then we'll take a look at OMG. Somebody was asking about OMG. And for all you LTC hodlers, this is a time that you guys have probably been waiting for. And this has been kind of doing the same exact thing as F. It was suppressed for a very long time, had a crazy move up to $98. And of course, when everything dumped, this thing dumped to 33.56, which is unheard of, freaking crazy. But bottom support for F, and I mean, I don't think it's going to get there anytime soon, unless we have just a crazy sell-off, FUD being spread left and right, countries talking about banning cryptocurrencies. That's the only time that we're going to see a massive dump that's going to happen. But until that happens, and I don't think we're going to see this $50 level anytime soon, unless there is major FUD that's being spread. But that looks to be the solid, long-term support line there. So now let's go ahead and get into maybe a 1-hour chart. So if you have extra capital laying around, put in a lowball offer at $50. It doesn't hurt at all. So let's see what other areas of support. Right around the $73 range. So with LTC, we have seen in the past where, she makes a nice move up and then she breaks back down. Now she hasn't started the breakdown yet. But if she did have a nice breakdown, like we saw with, going up to almost $70, $69.59, and then really breaking down to $52, $53, a break of almost $16 there. So if we do have that type of break, 73 and 70, between 73 and 70 should hold. That should be the major support line at its current price action movement. And LTC, it can get suppressed, it can get held back down, it can get pushed down, and I'm surprised that it's actually holding the current level that it is holding at the current moment of $91. So I mean, if you were patient with this and you're just looking to put in a lowball offer and not chase it and buy at the top here, because really we don't know what the top is right now. We don't have that much of a major resistance. We know where the support is, but resistance, really, the resistance we have right now is 93.89, because that's really the all-time high that it has set. I'm sorry, $98 on GDAX. So let me actually zoom out of this again. But why did she pull back from 93.89? And there it is right on this red candlestick here. That was the high that it hit. 93.85 was the high that it hit. It formed that as a resistance. And if it does get above that, you know, she has to prove to us that there is a clear confirmation of a breakout above the 98.28. So if she gets above this 93.85, which she has, but she completely broke down below it, that 98.28 is going to really be the major differential and determining whether we're going to have a clear confirmation of a breakout to $100, or is she going to get to it and kind of break back down? And if she breaks back down and breaks down heavily with a lot of profit taken and a lot of people shorting, then the 73 and 70 should be the key areas of support that it should hold and hopefully consolidate from those levels. But yeah, this is still an impressive move for LTC. But yeah, there's no reason that it's not over $100 and maintaining $100 when, you know, we got Dash breaking almost $650, and Monero and a bunch of other cryptocurrencies really setting all-time highs. So see, Ivan, there's a whole FUD that says the whales are crashing BTC to $1,000 level with the excess BCH money. Oh man, yeah, that's not good. To 1,000 though, that's kind of honestly, that's unrealistic to drop it to $1,000. I mean, there would have to be a major catastrophic event that was to happen, and that catastrophic event, in my opinion, would be, you know, BTC is hacked, not exchanges being hacked, you know, not wallets being hacked, but actually like BTC, you know, and maybe the miners being hacked. If that was the case, then yes, you know, I could probably believe that. But yeah, it's all FUD. I mean, you know, that's just kind of, I can see if they said 5,000, you know, but to drop it to $1,000 from its current high of, you know, $9,800, that's crazy. That is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But yeah, let me jot down their name, Operation Dragon Slayer, and I'll have to maybe do a little research if I have a little bit of time. Yes, Tether was hacked, but you know what? It didn't really do that much of an impact. Not much of an impact at all. Yeah, and Tether's kind of shady anyway. Tether's shady, and I mean, you know, but Tether's still holding that 99 cents. You know, it's supposed to be paired 1-to-1. You know, we really didn't have a crash on Tether, which I would have expected a you know, for Tether to crash to maybe 60, 70 cents, but there was no crash whatsoever. After 100 is chicken's game. Yeah, I mean, after 100, yeah, it's the newbies that are going to be possibly chasing it, and you know, the seasoned traders are going to be, you know, locking in some profits here and there, not selling everything. And I would really never recommend to sell everything, and that's where things have come back and kind of bit me. You know, but learn to take a little bit of profit, maybe sell a 1/10. You know, maybe, I don't know, maybe an 1/8 of what you have, but just to lock in some profit. And then if there is a dip, you know, like I've said before, you have your profit, you have your capital to be able to add to it a little bit more. Because if you sell everything and it goes up, you're going to be kicking yourself. Now, if you sell everything and it goes down, you're going to pat yourself on the back, but the chances of that happening are very slim. And to be honest with you, the way it always works, 99% of the time, is you get into a trade, it drops on you. You get out of a trade, it goes up on you. So that's why I'm a firm believer of, you know, scaling in, buying a little bit, see how it reacts to it, because more likely it's going to drop on you. And then when it does drop, you can buy in a little bit more to really lower your cost average. And then, you know, if you do have a position and you're looking to get out, sell a little bit, because more likely it's going to go up, and then sell a little bit more as it goes up. So as it keeps going up, start taking some profits. That's really the best way of playing this market. You know, to buy something at one specific price, you know, you're asking for it basically, you know, because it's going to dip on you. 99% of the time, it's going to dip. It's happened to me majority of the time. It happens to a lot of people that I talk to. You know, they come up to me and say, man, every time I buy something, it drops. And I say, hey, it happens to me as well too. And they're like, every time I sell it, it goes up. And then I always tell them, I'm like, you know, scale into that trade, buy a little bit and see how it reacts to your buying price. If it drops further, buy a little bit more. If it drops further, buy a little bit more. And you only want to do that average down on a solid cryptocurrency. Don't do it on these crap coins, on these Ponzi scam coins, to be honest with you, because more than likely they're just going to keep dropping and keep dropping and keep dropping. But if you're trading the top 10 coins and it drops on you, at least you'll have capital to add onto it. And same thing with getting out. Sell a little bit. Sell 20% of your position. And as it keeps going up higher, sell a little bit more. As it keeps going higher, sell a little bit more. So at least you're able to lock in a little bit more of the profit and get a little larger, more slice of that pie. All right, somebody asked me about OMG. Operation Dragon Slayer is what they're calling it. Yeah, I've been kind of out of the news, guys, to be honest with you, with my travels for the holiday. I haven't been able to really focus in on this market and see what's going on. And honestly, I mean, with this cryptocurrency market, sometimes it's information overload. It really is. It's just way too much information to try to digest all at once. All right, OMG, Davey, yeah, we'll take a look at that for you. Yeah, I mean, the buy-in would have been, $6, anywhere from $6 to, $7, or I'm sorry, $6.75-ish. That would have been the level to buy in. And I remember looking at this, and and this is what I had plotted out a while back. I told somebody, if this thing cracks, to 550-ish, that's a great buying opportunity. And I know somebody took advantage of it. They told me on the last live stream. I forget who it was that took advantage of that price point. But yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. I wouldn't be selling here. I would definitely be holding, considering the overall market is on an uptrend. I would hold it, but I would be locking in profits at key levels. Right now at 9.10, that's not a key level to lock in the profits. At $10 though, that is a key level. So if you bought it in the 5, 6, I would start locking in profits at $10. Sell 20% of what I have, and see how she reacts to that price. Whether she's going to break out of it with a vengeance, or is she going to really consolidate in that area. That's supposed. All right, I'm going to let me click on it and then save it. I'll throw it on my other monitor. Nope, that's not what I wanted to throw in there. Yeah, I'll definitely give that a read. But yeah, it's just, I mean, whales are going to spread FUD. They're going to spread FUD because they want to buy in more. Or they're shorting. That's the only thing I can think of. They're shorting. All right, OMG. Of course, yeah, we had that dip to a little under 550. Came back up to what, 675, and really held that $6 price point. 601 was really the low that she set before really having a nice move up to the upside. But yeah, somewhat choppy though, to be honest with you. We're not seeing, I mean, even though this is still on an uptrend, it's a very choppy uptrend. As we can see, I mean, hitting almost, 850, coming down to 6, giving up $2.50, getting up to 805, coming down to almost 705. That's $1 of a difference. 664 to 736, $1.30. So I mean, this is a choppy trade. And as long as you learn to lock in those profits, that's the only way to really kind of play these things and not hold on to it. Because really, if you hold on to it, I mean, it would happen to me as well too, where I would start panicking out, because for an extended period of time, these are 4-hour candlesticks that we're looking at. For an extended period of time, it was just downtrending and downtrending and downtrending. If I was watching this like a hawk, more than likely I would probably end up panicking and getting rid of that position, and more than likely I would probably get rid of it, close to that bottom at 750. What does it do though? It gets to 735 and then starts heading up. So yeah, when you see these crazy type of moves, you got to learn to lock in some of the profit, whether it's a 0.25% of your position, a 10th position, 20% of your position, whatever it might be, whatever you're comfortable selling, to lock in those profits. But yeah, so going forward on OMG, and OMG has been, it's really been beat down. It got beat down heavily. If we really look at the overall chart, from hitting that 1370 to $5.50, that's a huge drop, even though we are having some nice little dead cat bounces. And if you're day trading, yeah, you can definitely make a profit. I know a lot of people are not day trading, though. They might be, holding for a week and a half, whatever it might be. But yeah, if you're holding for that long, this is just a nice downtrend that happened from $11.55 all the way to almost $7. But so far, this is a trend line that I don't remember when I plotted this out, but it seems to be holding this trend line. So let's go ahead and extend this trend line going forward. If it allows me to extend it, there we go. So even though she did break down below the trend line and had a nice little break, especially on this candlestick here, where the difference on this was basically 735 to 601, $1.34 of a difference. That's a clear break. But the nice thing about this candlestick, though, even though it's red and she gave up a good amount of the profit, is that she closed above the trend line. And then the next couple candles, yes, they dip below it, but they close close to it. So this candlestick, yes, it closed below the trend line, but the next candlestick was a nice little parabolic move where it gave you a clear confirmation that, it's not going to stay down. It's going to keep going up. And she really hugged that trend line to an extent. So as long as they don't break it and stay below it and just consolidate and keep breaking down below it, they can break below it and get right back up above that trend line, wherever you decide to draw your trend line. Then you have somewhat of a bullish, healthy move to the upside. Now, once she breaks that trend line and breaks it hard and doesn't get back above it, then that's when you might be into a little bit of a trouble. And that's when a lot of people are going to end up taking profits. It's, she's not maintaining the trend line. She's not maintaining a nice upward move, a healthy move to the upside. If she breaks it, continues to break it, and consolidates under that break, you might want to reevaluate your position and say, okay, you know what? On the next uptick, I'm going to lock in 20% of my profit, just in case it does break back down. But currently right now, she is holding above that line, but $10 should see somewhat of a resistance. If $10 holds and breaks out above it, let's see what our next price action move is going to be. Should be right around the 1145, 1140-ish. So $10 breaks and it holds. 1140 should be an area of profit taken. And if that holds and it gives you a clear confirmation of a breakout, you always got to pay attention to the confirmation of a breakout. How is it breaking these support lines that you're plotting out? And if she's breaking through them, with a vengeance, then you know that you have more buying that's happening instead of more selling. The only time that you should be worried about on a clear confirmation of a breakout is when it starts to slow down and starts to consolidate sideways. Because then either people are going to add to the position or they're going to start dumping, because it's consolidated, it's slowed down, the buying stopped, the selling stopped. So it could either go, you're sitting at a 50-50 basically. That's the time when people are going to start locking in some profits, or that's the time when people are going to say, you know what, I like this healthy move. It's maintaining a key level and I'm going to get in it. So 1140 is going to be the next area after breaking $10, which I think $10 is going to be a nice psychological level for it. If it can hold and break 1140, then 1275 should be the next level. But with the way the market has been moving, I wouldn't expect this thing to continue breaking and keep going up to 15, 16, $20, because a sell-off could ensue at any time. And once BTC starts to sell off, it could cause a domino effect with every other cryptocurrency, where they're either going to get into USD or they're going to get into Tether, or BTC has dropped so nicely that they have profits in other cryptocurrencies where they will start buying into BTC. Darkness, what is up, buddy? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. It really looks like FUD. So everyone starts profit taking at 10,000 and Wells help it. Yeah, that is the correct, dude. That is a correct thing. People start taking profit. Wells could definitely start shorting at those levels if they have access to a platform, which I'm sure they do, where they can short. And you got to remember, too, exchanges are probably one of the shadiest things. I mean, they got to profit, and they're going to profit off trading as well, too. They're not just profiting off the commissions they're charging. They're profiting off trading. So, exchanges will short it. They will trade on their own platform. And as long as they get the price to tank by them shorting, they're going to be sitting at the bottom waiting to buy. Sell off after the CME implementation mid-December, just rumors. I could see that happening, SE. I could definitely see that happening. I think this is just a hype kind of leading up to it. Buying the news. I'm sorry, buying the rumor and then selling the news. Anything's a possibility, especially with this market that we're in, and we all know that. But yeah, buy the rumor and sell the news. So mid-December, we could have a healthy correction. Now that $1,000 that they were talking about, I don't believe that. I don't think it's going to get to those levels whatsoever. But a healthy correction is needed, considering we have just been going up and up, and that's all that it's been doing. I mean, within 2 weeks, to go up $4,200, that's insane. That is unheard of. Every time she has a major correction, she comes back and does close to 100% increase. So if we do really look at this thing, and we looked at it earlier, where if she does have a correction of, those corrections have been anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000, considering it's up so high, if we do have a $3,000 correction from its current level, that puts it right around $6,800. And $6,800 would put it, let's see. Right around that level there. I don't see this thing crashing below, and this is on a 6-hour price action movement, where it touched a 200-day moving average when she came down to $5,400. I don't really see it crashing below that level. Now, if she does crash below that level, then we're in a lot of trouble. BTC is in a lot of trouble. The whole cryptocurrency market is in a lot of trouble. But I really don't see it dipping below that level. But if we do have that nice correction, $6,800 is the correction for it to take. Now, if it's a minor correction, I would put it where this resistance is. Prior resistance becomes current support. That's where I would see it retracing back down to. And that would be a healthy retracement for BTC at this current levels. So prior resistance, here it is here, had a hard time breaking out above it for an extended period of time where it just consolidated. If I can get this thing to cooperate with me. So for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 days worth. 5 days worth of price action movement here within the circle. Had a hard time breaking out above it. And prior, like I've said in the past, prior resistance, becomes current support. And I usually see that about 90% of the time. So that's where I would really see a nice little minor correction coming down to. So that's really the correction where I would see it coming down to, because it's held up. And really, if we really look at this, let's see, 1 day. mean, for the past 2 days, I mean, this has been a crazy price action move. Almost 2.5 days worth of a price action move from the 8,300, let's just say 8,300 bucks or 8,350 to make the math easy. It's up 1,400 bucks within that very short period of time. So a correction is going to happen. And like I said, if it's a minor correction, profit taken, it should find that nice support right around 83.70, 83.50, depending on what exchange you're looking at. Price action movement, even though the price is going to be different on every exchange, the chart, if you do a side-by-side comparison, especially if you're looking at the same time frame, the charts are going to be very identical. You're going to see the rises, you're going to see the drops, you're going to see the consolidation. So it really doesn't matter what exchange you're looking at. Just look to see where majority of the consolidation happened to have a better idea of where that prior resistance was to form as a current support. And on GDAX, it happens to be right around the 83.75, 83.50 range. That should be the first area of support that it should have, considering ever since then it's just been, a somewhat of a small parabolic move to the upside on a 6-hour price action movement. But yeah, if we have a major correction, a 67.75, I could definitely see it getting to that level. But it all depends on what Wells and these exchanges are going to do. I do not use salt lending. AX, welcome, by the way. It's great to see a new name on here. And if you are new, thank you for finding us. It's a pleasure to have you. And, if you do find this information helpful, pound that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and stay connected with us on Steam, at Twitter, as well as Facebook. And if you want to sign up for our mailing list, you can do that by going to CryptoTradersRoom.com. And just answer a brief questionnaire. You'll get put on our mailing list, and then we'll take a look at your questionnaire and just answer those questions truthfully, and then we'll vet it and send out some invitations to our general Slack chat. It's a very small Slack chat or chat room. It's not that big, which is a great community. I wouldn't want to be part of a huge community right now. So that's something if you want to be involved in a very solid chat room where people are really conversing from all over the world. It's a great place to be. So it's not that big yet. Yeah, it's always a magic word. Jim, let's see. You read something on Goldberg on TradingView that CME might not start trading futures in BTC at this time. Has a strong argument. I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you, with CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. It's all up in the air, until it really happens. I would take it with a grain of salt. So I mean, this is the rumor right now that they're going to be listed, or going to be, the futures are going to be traded on CME. Mid-December, I think it is. But until it happens, this is all just rumors. It's all speculation. But and anything could happen too. Anything could happen. The SEC or SEC could shut it down and say, no, you're not going to trade on CME. You're not going to trade Bitcoin on CME. Dubai Review, welcome, buddy. XKiller12972. Hello back to you. What do I think of Monaco and List? I like Monaco, and I've actually been in the process of accumulating Monaco. And I was just a little upset that, I looked at the price and it was like, I think close to 650. And I was like, man, I should have bought more when it was in the $5 range, mid $5 range, 550-ish. So, I wait for a correction, but MCO is something I'm going to tend to accumulate as time goes on if it's a price that I'm interested in, because I am interested in getting the Monaco card, and I think I need to lock up 500 MCO coins for 6 months. So that's kind of the goal, is to try to get 500. And I don't want to buy 500 at $6. I'd rather buy 500, below $5. So that's kind of the goal going forward, is for me to try to accumulate 500, because that's what I need for the card. But no, I'm a firm believer of MCO. Even though there is a lot of competition out there, but I think, they're on the forefront. I think they could definitely take the lead. Maybe PayX would give them a very solid competition. But that sector does have a lot of competition, so I don't really see a huge growth. They're not the only ones doing it. So, and as time goes on, there's going to be a lot of other cryptocurrencies coming out with a Visa debit card. And if Visa or MasterCard decided to do the same exact thing that MCO or PayX is doing it, that's lights out for them. There's no way that they can compete against them. I mean, competition is healthy, but they're not going to have that market share. So that's the only thing that's a little scary about being a long-term investor in MCO or 10X. Or really any of the cryptocurrencies that offer a Visa or Master debit card. That can be completely taken out of the game. And let's really think about it, though. Let's just say hypothetically, Visa and MasterCard want to be the leader. They want to be in the forefront. They can knock out that competition easily and not allow them to use their platform, their Visa or MasterCard. So that's really the issue that could happen with a lot of these cryptocurrencies that are using Visa or MasterCard for their debit cards. That's just my opinion, though. Just my opinion. All right, so when I was just looking at this, another area that I do kind of see where it was heavily suppressed, and usually, I'll take a look at areas where it's been suppressed for a while to form, where the support lines are. Now, remember, you're always going to have, different areas of support. Your support's not going to be only one area. So, just don't look at this and say, 8,300 or 8,350 is the major support, and I'm going to go ahead and put all my money at that level, because more than likely it's going to drop on you. So really, currently right now we have 4 areas of support for BTC. And, if I was looking at playing BTC, let's just say hypothetically, I had $1,000 to play on BTC. I would be looking at these 4 areas of support and putting into at 8,300 or 8,350. And then putting in another 250 if it drops to 7,600, putting in another 250 if it drops to 67 or 6,800, and then putting in another 250 if it drops to 6,200 or 6,000. That's kind of the way I would play it, because it's hard to determine exactly. Nobody knows except for maybe exchanges or whales, especially if they're in cahoots with a bunch of whales that have a very large supply of BTC. How far possibly it's going to drop down to. But, us minions, we can only look at the probabilities and say, okay, you know what? I have my first area of support, second area of support, third area of support, fourth area of support. For it to really drop to $6,000, I mean, that's a lot. That's a drop of almost, 3,800, which it can do it. We've seen drops of, 2,000, 3,800 bucks. It could do it, but it's not going to do it within a matter of a couple of days where it's just going to continuously drop. It's going to hit these support lines and have a nice bounce. And either it's going to be a dead cat bounce or it's going to bounce up to the next area of resistance. So let's just say hypothetically, BTC drops below the first area of support, which is about right around the 8,380 range. It drops below it and it gets to 7,600, and it maintains 7,600 as a strong support, and it goes back and it starts to consolidate or have a nice move to the upside. If that is the case, that 8,500 is going to be a resistance. So you got to remember, it is going to be a resistance. Even though it crashed through it as a support, on the way back up, it is going to be a resistance, and you have to really pay attention to see how it breaks out above that resistance. So these support lines, if they break down below them, on the way back up, it is going to end up being a resistance for it. So that's kind of the way I would play it with $1,000 or whatever you have. Is just start taking in put in a quarter of your position at different levels of support, and pay attention to when it starts to make a move up to the upside. Is it breaking the key level of resistance, which was a prior support that it broke through? Crypto Cutter, good morning, buddy. They have to clear regulations. So SE, I'm assuming you're talking about let's see. Okay, so yeah, trading on CME. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is clearing regulation. And if they can clear regulation, I mean, this market will explode. BTC will explode. FOMO chasers will jump in. Everybody and their mother will be jumping in. To have, let's just say at BTC gets to $10,000, and it clears regulation, a 50% increase is going to be very attainable if it clears regulation. But, we saw last time when the ETF, back in June, was that when it was? Let's take a look at the overall. I was looking at this the other day and I was like, man, I remember this. All right, so let's see. I don't know if I can get to it. Maybe I can. It was when it dropped to about 7 something. There we go, 734. So we were sitting at almost $1,200, $1,175, and the Winklevoss twins with their ETF was basically denied. And we saw what that did to the price. Dropped it from almost $1,200 down to 734. I remember this drop. I was actually waiting for $600. I thought it would get to $600. At $600, I was ready to buy 10, but I got too greedy, waiting for $600. But yeah, so if it's declined or if it doesn't pass regulations, I mean, what do you think it's going to do to the current price right now? It's going to tank it, and it's going to tank it big. And the 5,000 could be attainable if it doesn't pass regulations. And that's kind of where I see bottom price for this thing. If it doesn't pass regulation, is it could get to that $5,000 level. But right now it's just buying the rumor and possibly selling the news if it doesn't pass regulation, or it does pass regulation and this thing skyrockets another 50% from 10,000, and then has a correction back down to 12,000 possibly. Yeah, dude. That's why I say to no way back down to $1,000. That's kind of wishful thinking. It's wishful thinking, and I mean, I would love to buy it at $1,000, but yeah, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't put my hopes on it getting to 1,000 at all. What do I think about EOS? Man, EOS had a crazy run, and I don't know. The only thing I don't like is they have that year-long ICO. That's the only thing I don't like about it. But yeah, I mean, could it compete with Ethereum and compete with Neo? I think it can. There's definitely room in the space for it. But I mean, only time will tell. And I mean, that price move had to be pure manipulation. Let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. Yeah, almost hitting $3. I think it might have hit $3, 287. It might never hit $8,300. I don't know, man. $8,300 is not that far off. To have a drop of $1,000 or a drop of $1,100. Let's see, where was BTC at currently right now? $9,600. So to have a drop of 1,300 is not much. It's a drop in a bucket for BTC. I mean, we got to remember that. I mean, if you look at really all the dips that have happened in the past, I wrote them down on a piece of paper. Let's see if I can even find them. I mean, we had a drop at like 2,000, a drop of like 3,200, and another drop of like almost $2,800. So yeah, I wouldn't say never. In this type of market that we're in, never say never, because it's definitely attainable. It's definitely doable. And like I said, a $1,200 drop, a $1,300 drop is only a drop in a bucket for BTC. I don't know who asked me about EOS. So I mean, yeah, for a while back, EOS was nothing, and then this move is just I don't know. In my honest opinion, it's unwarranted to have this type of move. So let's just say ever since November 1st, it was like 75 cents. Within 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks, I mean, giving you this type of gains, that's huge. That is huge. But yeah, we'll take a look at, I mean, areas of support and resistance. And as we can see here, we had that nice little peak. So really, when I'm looking at a chart, I'm going to try to look at as much as I can. And, this is probably the best way of looking at it, where, a 4-hour chart on EOS. On some other ones, you might have to look at, the 12-hour chart or the one-day chart. But I think let's take a look at the 12-hour chart on this. All right. So 12-hour chart on this, and I think that's really all that they're giving us, depending on when it was listed on CryptoWatch. But that $1.42 was going to be an area of resistance for it. And as we can see on the left-hand side here, that was an area that it was really suppressed from. Really had a hard time breaking out above it after it broke down. Let's see what the exact price was. 142, let's just say. So 142, had a hard time breaking out above it. And a couple times it attempted to, couldn't do it. So that is an area of resistance, huge resistance there. And when really she started to come back up, so I mean, we kind of know the history, we're going to somewhat have an idea, and it's all about probabilities. What are the probabilities of it breaking down from those levels? Probabilities are pretty high. It's not always 100%. But it's more than 50% probability that it will break down from those levels. And that's really an area to kind of say, I'm going to lock in 0.25% of my profit because I'm happy with the profits, but I want to hold 3/4 of it and see exactly what it might do. And what do we know? It gets right up to that 142 and it completely breaks down. There was no clear confirmation of a breakout above that 142. So prior resistance here, formed it as a resistance with no clear confirmation of a breakout above it. And when she did break down, she broke down to $1, actually 92 cents. So it's found in that nice support right around 92 cents there. But going forward from where it had the nice little correction, then it gave you a clear confirmation of a breakout. Yes, she did give up majority of the profits, majority of the gains, but the most important thing to look at is where it actually closed. It didn't close below the 142. It actually closed at 140, almost 145. So it closed above where that resistance was. Now, if she would have closed below it, that wasn't a sustained move whatsoever. But you got to remember, there are going to be people chasing it. There are going to be people taking profit because a lot of people know that is a resistance at 142. But more buyers happen to be stepping in than sellers. And it caused a nice little move to the upside. But yeah, it did not close below that 142, which was a prior resistance. It held it. And that was not 100% confirmation of, having a nice parabolic move or having a sustained move. But that would have probably given me a 25 to 30% chance of saying, okay, this could have a nice move up to the upside, considering she did close above the prior resistance. And then what do we know? Exactly that thing. So it wasn't 100%. Now, if this thing would have closed up closer to the high, and that high was right at 165, so 150, I would have said, okay, what? I'm getting in this because this thing had a nice move to the upside and she closed above that. But knowing that she only closed a couple pennies ahead is still bearish. I'm sorry, still bullish, but not the percentage wise. The probability of it being extremely bullish was not there. But she held that 142 on a downtrend. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little more. There's that 142. Had the nice little break, coming back down, consolidated right in that range. And this is a 2-hour price action movement. Let's take a look at the 1 hours, the 30 minutes, because then you get to see exactly the battle between the bears and the bulls. So 30 minutes, we couldn't see it because I couldn't zoom in. But on the 1 hour, there's all this fighting that happened between the bears and the bulls. So, and the bears basically, I'm sorry, the bulls held this thing up. They held it up above that 142. Yes, she came down to 139, but if we look at just the average price, she held up where the prior resistance was in the past to make it a new support, and that was for a very extended period of time. And that's very bearish. I'm sorry, very bullish by looking at that. So then let's take a look at areas where she turned down from, and we got to go back to the 12-hour chart. So at $2.13, she had a breakdown. Why did she have a breakdown at $2.13? because that happened to be the high that she had set on July 23rd. July 23rd high was $2.13.8. Let's just say $2.14. Coming up, $2.12 was, let's see, $2.12 was the high. So this prior resistance here in the past was also the prior resistance here in the past. So that's why, locking in some profits along the way, it's very beneficial, and not just holding, wishing. Yeah, it can go up and you might kick yourself, but it could also downtrend on you and keep going down and keep going down. Now, the breakdown from this wasn't too massive, from 212 down to 170, but that's still, 42-cent drop. So if you have 1,000 of these coins, 1,000 EOS, that's $420 that you just kind of gave up by not locking in any profits at that 212, 213, or at least a little below the all-time high that it had set, which is right up here at 213, 214, 213.8, basically, close to that 212 that is set. But coming back up, broke out of that range, out of that resistance with a vengeance. So prior resistance should become current support, from research that I've done in the past. So if we do have a downtrend from this 287 level that she's in, 211 should hold. 211, 210 should hold as a support, unless, massive sell orders are in the book and people are panicking. That's the only way that it's going to crash below it. And if she crashes below it, basically you got your first area of support, second area of support at 142, and third area of support at a little under $1. So $1 could probably hold, but if it doesn't, the 90 cents, 91 cents should hold. But yeah, so prior resistance can become current support, and if she breaks the current support, then she'll retest the second area of support. But on the way back up, the prior support that she broke through will become a resistance. All right, let me answer a couple questions for you guys, and then I do have to end this live stream. Crypto Cutter, let's see what you're saying. No way $1,000 ever again. Yeah, I don't see that either, bud. I don't see that either. So, and I haven't really read that article yet. But yeah, it's wishful thinking. It is completely wishful thinking. And if you're just on the sideline waiting for 1,000, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. A $8,700 drop from its current level, it's just not realistic at all. So we'll keep taking a look at this chart as I'm answering some of the questions that you guys might have. Yeah, I agree, Crypto Cutter. I agree. After it hits, over 12,000, we could see $8,300. And I mean, honestly, though, it could hit, 10,500 and have a breakdown. And if she does have a breakdown, in my honest opinion, it doesn't really matter from what level she's currently at now. If she does have a breakdown, that 8,300, 83, what I plot out, 83.85, 83.75 should hold as a support. Should, unless, like I said, whales and exchanges are really dumping and causing this panic and FUD and spreading tons of FUD. Then, that's the only reason why it would break below that 83.85. But 83.85 should hold. It really doesn't matter what level she's at, unless she moves sideways from its current price action movement. If she moves sideways, then that is a support. And if she breaks that above, so let's just say hypothetically, let's do some probabilities here before I really answer some of the questions for you guys, and then I do got to move on. Let's say this 93, 90, or 97, 95 holds for an extended period of time, and it just keeps consolidating sideways. And then she has a massive breakout, and breaks out above that range and gets up to 10,000, whatever it might be. Then really the first area of support is going to be the 97.95. And second area of support is going to be the 83.45. But currently, at its current price action move that we're currently seeing now, the 83.85 is the current support line. So it all depends on how she's going to be moving going forward, whether she's going to just keep going up and up and up. And if she keeps going up and up and up, without really finding a baseline, then that 83.80 is still going to be an area of support for it. But if she consolidates like she's doing currently right now, holding underneath that 9,800 bucks, then and it breaks out above that 9,800, 9,800 is going to be the first area of support for it. But yeah, I don't see this thing dropping to $1,000. Let's see. I won't be able to do any. I won't be able to analyze Monero, but we can take a look at the chart real quick because I do have about 6 more minutes. I'm surprised Monero's not like 200 bucks. I really am. I would definitely say that it's forming some sort of a bull flag at its current price action movement. So yeah, so I would like to see this thing kind of get above this trend line. And it is above this trend line right now. It's not really breaking down below it. But yeah, get above this trend line, get wedged right into this range of $171, looks like. And if it can get wedged in there, I can see this thing really taking a nice parabolic move to the upside. And if it does have a crazy parabolic move to the upside, it's going to retest that 171 again as a support line. There is going to be profit taking that's going to happen. You got to expect it. You can't expect, for it to get up to 250 and just keep going up and up and up. If she has a crazy parabolic move, she is going to retest that 171. It's logic. $1 million in 2021. I agree with you. What's a bet that I have with my buddy? 2018, 500,000 or above. So 2018, 10 years, and we have a case of Blue Moon on the line that it will hit. It'll be above $500,000. But yeah, and that's that 1 penny per Satoshi that we talked about in the past. Where I can see 1 Satoshi being worth 1 penny, and that would put BTC at $1 million. And I forget, I was reading some article the other day about possible Bitcoins that are out of circulation and haven't been touched, and they were able to look at the probabilities a lot better with the hard fork that were happening, because really BTC because BTC wasn't really being moved at all, and I think it was somewhere in the range of a little under 4 million BTC coins were not moved, possibly lost. So that's a good amount of BTC that's going to possibly be out of circulation. So, if we really think about it, with 17, that would put it right at 17 million. And there's a lot of people that are probably still losing their BTC somehow, some way. Not through a hack, because more than likely if they're a hack, somebody has control of the BTC and they can sell it, they can move it around. But BTC that isn't being moved whatsoever, it's close to 4 million, a little under 4 million BTCs. AJ, welcome, buddy. Yeah, and I did tell you guys on the previous live stream that I did that, the following week I wasn't going to be doing any live streams due to my travels for the holiday. So hopefully you guys heard that. But yeah, I wasn't just, I was MIA and just disappeared. I wouldn't do that. I would definitely tell you guys if I wasn't going to be doing a live stream for some apparent reason. But yeah, the holidays are kind of tough because I travel a lot and whatnot. If you think you're on the sideline waiting for 1,000, you haven't even pulled into the parking lot yet. Crypto Cutter, I like that. I like that. Yeah, $1,000. Yeah, like I said, extremely, extremely wishful thinking. Now, does it hurt to have, to put in an order at $1,000? No, it doesn't hurt. But I wouldn't bank on it hitting $1,000. Now, the only way it's going to hit $1,000 is if we have a flash crash, flash crashes can happen, but they'll make it right back up to the current level that they're at. So flash crashes can happen. They can. So like I said, having a low ball offer in the book, to buy at $1,000, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. You have nothing to lose. You're just locking up $1,000 of your money. That's about it. So if you got an extra $1,000 to spare that you're not going to lose at all, and you just want to lock it up, yeah, put in a bid to buy it at $1,000. It's probably not going to happen unless a flash crash happens. It's like being struck by lightning twice. It's very rare, but it can happen. How long do I think BTC corrects? We're not in correction right now, which is a good thing. But I kind of briefly talked about, where I see the levels correcting to. If we do have a major correction that's going to be happening within BTC. And really right now, unless she breaks out of this 97, 95 with a vengeance and has a clear confirmation of a breakout where she goes parabolic, right now that is a resistance for it, but we're not too far away from that 97, 95. So she can break out above it. And if she breaks out above it with a vengeance, that 97, 95 is going to be the first area of support. But really the support line that I see is that 87, 85. If we do have a nice little correction, a nice little sell off, to have a $1,300 correction is not that much for BTC. It's a drop in the bucket. Now, if she has a major correction, and I mean major correction, I would be looking at that, $7,000 to $6,800. That's kind of where I would be looking. But she would have to break through the $7,600. She would completely have to break through it. So like I've said earlier, where if I had $1,000 to spend, I would spend $250 on buying it at the first area of support. If it breaks that, add another $250 at the second area of support. If she breaks that, add another $250 at the third area of support. If she breaks that, add another $250 at the fourth area of support. And that's kind of the way I would play it. Now, I'm not saying that she is going to crash to that $6,200. But yeah, it's you're kind of taking a bigger risk by throwing all your money at 83.80. You really are taking a big risk because this market has shown us that she can tank, but she'll come right back up. But at least, if she hits that the first area of support and breaks through it, but doesn't get to the second area of support and then heads right back up, at least you know that you have a position in. And you're not going to panic and sell because you still have capital left over to add to that position. Whereas if you put everything in at 83.80 or 8,400 bucks, and she starts retesting the second area of support, you might panic and sell if you're watching this like a hawk. But if you have capital left over, then you're like, it's not really that big of a deal because you can add more to that position and lower your cost average. The fight between BTC and BCH, yeah, and let's not forget about Bitcoin Gold. Let's throw that in there as well too. The fight between miners. Once miners start switching, their hash power from BTC to BCH, BTC is going to take a nice little correction, and vice versa as well too. So the miners do have a good amount of say in price action as well too, and as well as traders, as well as wells and exchanges. There's a lot that have their hands in a price action movement of BTC. And we can't really forget about the miners, with switching their hash power to whatever's more profitable. So if Bitcoin Cash becomes more profitable to mine and they're switching their hash power to Bitcoin Cash, then Bitcoin's going to take a correction. But yeah, the fight will always happen. Bitcoin Cash wants to be the Bitcoin. Bitcoin Gold wants to be the Bitcoin. It's that fight will always happen. And actually, you know what? We didn't even look at it, but Bitcoin Gold, once they actually released the total circulating supply, so the reason why it wasn't up here in the top 5 or even the top 10 was, they hadn't really released the total circulating supply. Once the total circulating supply was released, and I kind of did the math before it was even released to say, you know what? I wonder what Bitcoin would be up, at what place in the total market cap, where would it find its position? And, and I just kind of took what BTC had. BTC had 16.7 million. And I just said, okay, you know what? 16.7 million times, I think it was like 350, 340 at that time, times it by 340. And I was like, wow. I was like, once they release the total circulating supply, that's going to put Bitcoin Gold right up in the, fifth or sixth spot. And there it is right now in the fifth and sixth spot. So, I mean, if we would have had another 2x fork, and that other 2x fork had let's just say a price point of $400 with the same amount of total circulating supply, that would put it right in the top 5 as well too. So, I mean, before we know it, if these forks keep happening, it's going to be nothing but BTC in the top, or forks of BTC in the top 5. And then if those forks end up forking, so basically, BTC right now, has 2 kids, has Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold. If Bitcoin Gold or Bitcoin Cash forks, Bitcoin is going to be a grandmother, because she is the mother for Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold. And as they keep forking, I mean, before we know it, the top 10, could be nothing but, fork of Bitcoin or a fork of the Bitcoin fork, if that makes sense. Yeah, don't be scared. Don't let this market scare you. Really don't. And to be honest with you, there's times where I walked away from this market where I just like, I need a break from it. I can't sit here and watch this thing because it's overwhelming. It's too crazy. And sometimes, you just gotta, if it's a nice day out, I know you live in Cyprus, it's always nice, but yeah, just go out and enjoy the day. This market will always be here. It's not going anywhere. Especially if you have a position, in a solid cryptocurrency, in the top 5, the top 10, and the market is in a rut and it's dumping, let's go out and enjoy the day, because within 3 to 4 days after that, it's going to come right back up as though nothing ever happened. And we've seen this over and over and over again. It's the people that haven't seen these type of moves happen that end up panicking and selling. And then 2 days later, it goes right back up to where it was. It's like, man, why did I even sell? So yeah, it's best to either turn your computer off, go out, enjoy the day, go have dinner, go have breakfast, go have lunch, whatever time it might be. Yeah, strong hands will reward you. You are absolutely right, Crypto Cutter. Absolutely right about that. I concur. Especially with BTC, you have to have strong hands. There's a lot of people that don't have strong hands, and they'll dump it and they'll sell it. And more than likely, I'll be honest with you, they'll sell at the wrong time because they end up selling at the bottom. If you didn't already take profit, let's just say hypothetically, you didn't take profit at 97, 95. And this thing starts to crash to 8,300, don't sell at 8,300 because that is a support line for it. But that's what a lot of new traders end up doing is, they didn't take profit at 98, 95, and they were heavily into a profit. It starts to dip. It starts to dip. They're watching like a hawk. It starts to dip. It starts to dip. It gets to 8,300. And then they're like, all right, you know what? I'm getting out. This is too much. And that happens to be the support. And from there on, it ends up grinding up to the upside. So if you didn't already sell at 97, 95, and you're starting to panic, it's starting to dip, walk away from your computer. Just walk away from it. Did I see the log chart from Adam Meister? I'm assuming. Is that Adam Meister or no? I don't know if you're trying to be funny, SE. Did I see the log chart from Turd Meister on Twitter? Really awesome stuff for BTC prediction. No, I have not. And I'll write that down. If that is a real name, real Twitter handle. Turdy Meister. Yeah, interesting info on the BTC family, and I think the BTC family will continue to grow. So maybe I'll make a BTC family tree line, because I mean, the forks that are already happening from BTC, more than likely they're going to end up forking later on, and the fork from that fork is going to end up forking again. So, I mean, this market could be completely saturated with nothing but forks and forks and forks and forks of the original chain, which is BTC, of course. This is the year of the fork. Yeah. I mean, we could have had, well, what somebody did mention, I forget who it was, Bitcoin Diamond. So if you guys know anything about Bitcoin Diamond, I didn't know there was a fork, but they were giving out, or if anybody even took advantage of it and had big BTC, where they were giving away 10 Bitcoin Diamond for every BTC. Let me know if you guys heard about that, because I didn't hear about it. And I was like, where did they slip this fork in? Like, how did this ever happen? Or maybe it wasn't even a fork. It was created and they were rewarding BTC holders. Yeah, Suzanne, it can be stressful. It can honestly be stressful. And this cryptocurrency market will take years, honestly, years, off your hands, and it will age you. I've gotten gray hair from just this market. And I think I've said it before, where if you end up missing, a day's worth of price action movement or a day's worth of information in this market, it's like missing a week almost. And if you miss a week's worth of, cryptocurrency, you're almost missing a month worth of information, because that's just how fast it moves. There's so much information to try to digest. It could be completely overwhelming. And sometimes you just got to take a break from it, to be honest with you. Don't let it get to you, because it can stress you out, and it can beat you down. It really can. Lose sleep over it. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. Yeah, so Bitcoin Diamond got up to what, $100, I think it was. And that was just crazy. So Rubber Dub, welcome, by the way. It's great to see you on here. But yeah, I think they were giving away, 10 Bitcoin Diamond for every 1 Bitcoin that you might have been holding. I could be wrong, something to that extent. YouTube not letting you post a link. SE, really? Or you know what, man, I got to add you on as a moderator. Go ahead, now you can post a link. I think you deserve to be a moderator. You're always on here. The infant age of crypto market. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, what is it, 9 years old? Bitcoin is 9 years old, maybe a little over 9 years old. I mean, so it's only in 3rd grade, so it's still a baby. And this market will continue to grow, and I think we're definitely seeing this market grow. And I remember just breaking $20 billion in market cap. Now it's breaking way over 300 billion. So it's a very still, and I'll keep saying it. It's a very thin market. It's still a very small market, because really $300 billion is not a lot for an overall market. $300 billion, I mean, don't get me wrong, is a lot of money, but not for a whole market. So until really BTC gets up to, BTC just surpassed, who was it? I forget who they surpassed in the sense of market cap. But until they get to Apple's level, and I'm not talking about the overall market cap, I'm just talking about Bitcoin in general. Until they get to Apple's market cap, which is $800 billion, that's when really this market is going to be mature. Right now, it's not a mature market whatsoever, and that's why we're seeing these crazy dips of $3,000. I mean, that's not normal. That's not normal at all. I talk to anybody that trades the traditional financial market. This is not normal whatsoever to see these type of crazy dips that are happening. SE, I'm trying to find your comment, and okay, so the CM, I'm assuming you're trying to post a link about the CME implementation in December, or possibly not even. I mean, it all depends on regulations, and I think we briefly covered that. So block 4958. Let me write that down. I wonder when that happened. So the 495866 was a snapshot for the fork, and that's on Bitcoin Diamond. Do you remember when that was? Yeah, Apple is, I think last time I checked was like 800 billion. Did it grow to 900 billion? I'm sure it did. Yeah, I mean, they're getting close to that $1 trillion market cap. Market cap 893 billion. So yeah. So a $900 billion market cap. They will hit $1 trillion market cap. they will hit that. I don't know if they'll hit it within a month, but I would say within 2 months, 2.5 months, they'll hit it. Definitely before the next iPhone launch, iPhone 9 or whatever they decide to call it. iPhone Steve Jobs, they will definitely hit it. $1 billion market cap is huge. I'm sorry, $1 billion market cap. $1 trillion market cap. But yeah, until Apple really catches up to Bitcoin, Bitcoin catches up to Apple, that's when we're going to really see it become a mature market cap. And that's really when, I think it's going to raise a lot of eyebrows and say, whoa, Bitcoin alone by itself is starting to man, I can't even talk this morning. Starting to surpass, one of the biggest technologies, one of the biggest, Fortune 500 companies in the U.S. All right, so let me read a couple of the comments that SE has, and then it's 11:45, so I'll have to get off this live stream. Chart from fall 2014 when Bitcoin was $300, predicted price of 10,000 for today, November 22nd, 2017. We're 8,000. So who predicted that? I'm assuming there's a link for it. Okay, the guy from the Twitter. I'll save that off to the side to read later on. And it all depends, is it time stamped? But I mean, there was tons of people that were predicting. I mean, I remember, when I started this live stream in January 1st, and really started getting back into this, into cryptocurrency, mid-December, close to the beginning of December, that I was reading a lot of things, BTC is going to hit 10,000, BTC is going to hit 10,000. I was just like, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, BTC is not even that high yet, and they're talking about $10,000. I thought it was absurd, but I mean, little did we know, what BTC is really capable of doing. Yeah, definitely the next milestone. I mean, it's going to have corrections, SE. It's just not going to keep going up and up and up. It's going to have corrections. Like I said before, some are going to be, minor corrections, and some are going to be major corrections. We could, I mean, if it gets up to, 50,000, 60,000, having a $5,000 dip, a $10,000 dip could be a drop in the bucket then, so we'll see bigger swings happening. But, the higher that the price goes of BTC, the less I think it's going to be traded. I don't think it's going to be traded the way it's traded now in the masses, unless whales are really going to start moving the price where they have tons of money to be buying a lot, than the average person. But yeah, if it gets $100,000, I mean, the average person is not going to be buying, one BTC. They'll be buying 0.0001 and trading with 0.0001. And that's really not going to move the market, that high up. So it'll just slowly but surely just start grinding to the upside. That's kind of what I see happening. So Bitcoin Dark, or I'm sorry, not Bitcoin Dark. Bitcoin Diamond just has encryption on the value of the tax and an 8 megabyte block size like BCH, GPU mining. That's it. Okay, so yeah, I don't really see it doing much then, but you know what? It's still a fork, a BTC. And as long as it has the back end of the miners, it could be in the top 10. I'm not saying that it'll overtake BTC at the current moment, but it could definitely be up there in the sense of the market cap. Yeah, I got to look into this fork because I didn't know that was on the 24th. I didn't know there was a fork happening on the 24th. I mean, in my eyes, it was kind of snuck in, unless there was an article about it, about the fork happening. Just like we found out about Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold and 2x, forking. I mean, that was talked about over and over and over again, and we knew exactly when it was going to fork. But yeah, with Bitcoin Diamond, I did not hear anything about it. Rubber Dub, one that you post a link. Keep showing up on the live stream, man. You'll earn the wrench. Yeah, I think BTC is going to be insane. 50,000, 60,000, 100,000. That $500,000. 10 years. 2021. You know, $1 million, it's easily attainable. It could be attainable. And there aren't going to be too many Bitcoins floating around. So hoarders are going to hoard. $15K a week from Christmas, man. I hope it does for the people that are holding BTC. I hope it does. But yeah, you know, I mean, I'll go back and take a look at this live stream with what you guys are predicting, and we'll see exactly what it does. You know, and that's as long as we don't have like I said, a major correction. Now, it's just not going to keep going up and up and up. And I've said it in the past, like there's just no way that it's just going to keep going up. It's going to have violent corrections. It's going to happen. It's happened in the past. We've seen it happen, but it'll come right back up with a vengeance. Yeah, dude, SC, I'll definitely have to look into that. I will definitely have to look into it. Olaf, I said the exact same thing, man. The exact same thing. I was like, they're crazy. $10,000. I was like, they're spreading FUD to get people to just not sell, you know, because they want to unload at a higher price. That was my mentality when I heard about that. I was like, they want this thing to get up to $1,000, $2,000, so they could dump it and make a huge profit. And then, you know, the people that believed in $10,000 are the ones left holding the bag. That was my logical thinking behind it. But man, was I wrong? Yeah, Essie. So I'll definitely have to take a look at this guy and follow him if he's making, you know, great predictions like that. But yeah, it is around that time. It's 11:50. I want to thank everybody for joining. I want to thank you guys for hitting that pound like button. And anybody that's new to this live stream, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification. And, you know, if there's anything that you learned, you know, from any of the live streams that I do, you know, leave a comment in the chat or leave a comment in the comment section once the video gets uploaded. And then usually within a couple of minutes, YouTube will automatically upload this. But yeah, if you haven't done so already, make sure to click subscribe as well as the post notification. Connect with us on Steemit, Twitter, as well as Facebook. Until Wednesday, which will be our regular Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays live stream. I want you guys to have a great day, a blessed day, and enjoy the day. You know, go out and enjoy the day. Don't watch this market like a hawk, you know, unless you're waiting for a good opportunity to buy in. But yeah, if you have a good amount of BTC and you're happy with it, enjoy the day. Enjoy this nice move because, you know, this is a history in the making for BTC. But yeah, we'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. Have a great day.